Welcome to the Evolving Healer. I'm Christopher Metoyer, your host, and a little bit about myself. I'm currently a graduate student on the journey of healing myself while helping others heal along the journey. A little bit about the podcast, we'll be sharing real life experiences while you're going on your journey and while I'm going on my journey, being true, authentic, and pure. Welcome to the Evolving Healer. Again, I'm Christopher Metoyer, your host, a mental health graduate counseling student on the journey of healing, learning, and becoming. Today, we'll dive into what it costs on that healing journey. Pretty much diving into what does healing look like for yourself in the long run? What do you expect your healing journey to look like? Many people, when we talk about healing, we expect healing to be a journey of a easy journey or not something that's stressful, something that's giving you a sense of clarity and peace. But for many of us, healing can be chaotic. Healing can be stressful. Healing can be overwhelming because we tend to grieve that old self or grieve old friends or grieve, that old version of yourself. But let's talk a little bit about where I've been for the past 2 weeks. For myself, it's been a lot of life been life, and we have to take some time for ourselves and really prioritize our own mental health and prioritize, taking care of self, spending some time taking care of self-care, going out doing the things that we enjoy so we don't become burnt out. Like we discussed in prior sessions, when it comes to burnout, you tend to lose yourself along your healing journey. You tend to become distracted. Tend to become bogged down. So the past 2 weeks, I've been spending some time, just resetting and taking the time to really, I wouldn't say relax because I've been working hard. As you can see, we're launching some merch here soon, working with the vendor. I'm not too satisfied with the quality of the actual logo on the material yet. So I'm working back with the vendor on getting the issue rectified because it's not up to my standard. Before I can sell this to anyone, it has to be up to par, and it is what it is. Overall, I'm satisfied with the quality of the hats and the beanies and things, but we're still a work in progress when it comes to the jogging sets. So with that being said, coming in January of 26, we have some exciting news coming down the pipeline, especially when it comes to events and things of that nature. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the merchandising that's dropping as well. We will be having a soft launch next month in December. So just keep your eyes open. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook as well, various channels as well to stay tuned for the up and coming drops. But let's dive into the cost of healing. When in terms of healing, for my own life, it's been like, what did I expect my healing journey to look like? I expected healing to be peaceful, but in all actuality, I tend to find myself in a slump of, okay, what is it that I want from that old version of myself? I know I want to become the best version of myself, but when it comes to that old version of yourself, you become so comfortable and complacent. So it's like, okay, let me just stay here. Let me not change what I need to change about myself on this healing journey. So for myself, it's all about being self-aware for one. If you're not self-aware of, wanting to heal and wanting to be the better version of yourself, the healing journey it's not gonna be impactful. And like I always say, healing isn't linear. My healing journey and someone else's healing journey may look totally different. You know, when it comes to healing, you're like, what do you do on your healing journey? Spending time in your word, journaling, just taking that time, like I said, resetting. Don't allow yourself to get burned out and cause yourself to lose focus on the things that you're trying to accomplish along the journey. because it's easy to do those things when you're on your healing journey. But don't hold yourself, don't feel guilty or conscious when it comes to losing friends along the healing journey. You're going to lose friends. You may lose family. You may not do things that you used to do. But in terms of friends, those that are intended to be in your life on that healing journey will remain there. But those who aren't intended, you'll find yourself in an area of those friends that you don't supposed to be surrounded with. They're going to continue the same patterns, the same cycles of doing the things that you're not on that type of timing anymore. So you have to learn to isolate yourself and separate yourself from those things, because if not, you'll never heal. You'll never become that better version of yourself. And don't allow people to make you feel like it's not okay. It's okay. You can love people from a distance. And in life, we have to learn to accept the reality of it's okay to move forward in life. But one thing for sure, we're not going to look in that rear view and dwell on our past, but we're not going to forget where we come from. So in actuality, don't hold that against yourself for moving past friends that no longer serve you no purpose. If they're not pouring into you and filling your cup and you're not filling their cup, what's the point? Like I always relate back to, what's the purpose? What's your why? Sometimes, we have to learn to isolate ourselves and realize that we have to just sit in a season of silence. It tends to get lonely. It does. When it comes to healing typically changes our environment, like I stated. It changes your relationships. It changes your mindset. It shifts your whole paradigm. So understanding that if you want to get to the other side of that tunnel, what do I have to let go? What is it? Is it friends? Is it family? Is it that old mindset that I had? But as I navigate my healing journey, some things that I have learned to understand on this healing journey is every day is not going to look the same. Every day is not going to be easy. Some days are harder than others. Some days you may wake up and be like, man, look, I really don't want to do this. Some days you be like, okay, let me just do what I've been doing because this is what I'm used to. But then you have to realize, no, what's my long-term goal? Reverting back to my why, my purpose. So sticking to that plan of becoming that better version of yourself. Even in those moments that you feel like, why I'm so alone? Sometimes God's sitting us in a season of figuring out what is it that we're supposed to be doing. Sometimes it's gonna have to be just you and God in that room, in that season, and we have to be okay with that. We have to learn to enjoy our own company, taking ourselves on dates, doing self-care things for ourselves, whether it's going to get a massage, whether it's going out to eat, whether it's going shopping, enjoying your own company. Because guess what? If you don't know how to enjoy your own company, you'll never be able to heal along this journey. The quiet moments like of grief, like when it comes to, like that walking alone, those moments you tend to be like, man, let me just go back and let me pick up those old friends that I used to have. But you have to realize y'all no longer have anything in common. Y'all no longer serve each other a purpose. And understanding what you had to release along that journey. What did that release make room for overall? Like for myself, it's a lot of people that I used to associate myself with that I no longer associate myself with. And I'm okay with that. I've grown to understand and realize that I'm not made for everybody and everybody not made for me. So accepting the reality of things and understanding, life change, life evolves. It's a lot of people that I no longer associate myself with, but guess what? One call that's all. I still have love for that person. I still have all due respect for them. But guess what? That person not gonna be in my circle. I'm in a season of keeping people in my circle that's trying to elevate, who's trying to get to the next level. People who are purpose driven, people who has desires, people who has things to lose, people who wants to break those generational curses, people who wants to be a change in this world. I can't continue to surround myself with that old version of myself. And I had to learn that it's 100% okay. Long as I know my why, long as I know my purpose. And in those seasons where you just feel lonely and you don't know which way to turn, I've been there. What do I do in those moments though? Spend time journaling. Spend time doing things that I enjoy. Spend time surrounding myself with people that's empowering me, people that want to see me win, people that's giving me the golden nuggets to take myself to the next level. And just spending time in God's words and understanding like this season shall pass. But this is where I have to be right now because this what it's gonna take to get to my destiny. It may not look good right now. It may not feel good. But in the end, it's like, okay, once you get over that hurdle, that's when you feel you have a different feeling about yourself. You don't feel like you having to force yourself in a room. You don't feel like you having to force yourself to be around people because you now know how to isolate yourself and enjoy your own company. You know how to celebrate yourself. You don't need nobody celebrating you. And then just how do you like grief overall? Many people may be like, dang, is grief the word for missing that old version of myself? Is grief the word for missing those old friends that I used to have? Yes, grief is the word. In life, we tend to grieve. We don't just grieve when people die or we lose a pet or we lose a friend or whatever the case may be. We grieve those old versions of ourselves. We grieve friends that we no longer have because it's a missing piece in our life. And not only that, once you lose that person or you lose that old version of yourself, that used to be home. So it's coming. It's okay for you to feel those emotions. It's okay for you to feel like, okay, let me just stay here. Those are normal emotions. Those are normal feelings. But what is not okay to do is revert back to your old self. What we have to do in this season is really just taking ourselves to that next level, continue to push through no matter how hard it gets, and understanding everybody can't go where we're going along the journey. It's okay to remove people from your life. It's okay. And the hardest part of healing is realizing some people were in your life to teach you a lesson. A lesson. And you as a person have to be aware of that lesson that person was in your life. Maybe that person was in your life to teach you tough love. And we have to learn that it's okay to outgrow familiar spaces. Many people may feel like you think you better than them. They may feel like, oh, they forget where they come from. That's life. People gonna talk. People gonna judge you. People gonna feel like, oh, because you evolving, you're changing. You're trying to create a better version of yourself. You're trying to break those generational curses. You're trying to redefine what healing looks like in your family. You're trying to redefine what healing looks like for the generations to come. Don't allow people negativity to hold you captive. Stick to it. You lose people. You lose parts of yourself. You lose comfortability. You may even lose focus along the healing journey because you're so isolated. That's not your norm. Get used to being uncomfortable. Every day not gonna be peaches and cream. Every day not gonna be easy. But what is your why? And on the healing journey, that isolation is one of the hardest parts, one of the hardest lessons. Sometimes healing, you have to really understand, what is it that I want to let go? Why do I want to keep holding on to what's hurting me? Why do I want to keep holding on to what's not helping me get to that next level and create that better version of myself? And for myself, like, when it comes to just outgrowing people in familiar spaces, it's like, it don't bother me at this point in life because I know where I want to be in life in the next 5 to 10 years. And I know me being that old version of myself that I was 5 years ago, it's not going to get me to where I'm trying to get to. So I really truly have to stick to the plan no matter how hard it get, and understand that it's okay to outgrow that space. And guess what? It'll all work out in the end. And then honestly, it's like, what is you tend to feel a sense of emptiness. And when you feel that new you evolving, it can be a scary feeling. It can be really scary. For myself, like, I had to grieve trying to be like those around me and understand, like, that's not the life I want to live. That's not who I want to be. You have to lead from the forefront. You don't have to be who you hang around. You can be bigger than that. You can be better than that. So I had to realize, like, you don't have to force yourself in a circle. You don't have to fit in to be. Like, step out of your norm. Step out of your comfort zone. And it takes a lot of compassion to be bold enough to know that you don't have to stay in that room. You don't have to stay in that unfamiliar place. You don't have to stay in that familiar space. You don't have to stay in that past version of yourself. And for myself, it looks totally different now. Lost a lot of friends. And that's okay with me because guess what? I know my why. I know my purpose. I still got love for them. But guess what? It's still a lot of friends that we may not talk every day, but guess what? We still have an understanding that one call, that's all. We still have that love and that respect for one another. And one thing that, like, healing has taught me about myself is I'm very ambitious. I'm very goal driven. And when I'm passionate about something, I'm going to give it my all. And guess what? When you know your why, your purpose, you will thrive no matter what. Because when you come out of healing, you're not going to be that same person you once were. You may look different. You may feel different. You may talk different. Life may look totally different than what it looked 3 to 4 years ago. You come out a stronger, more purified version of yourself. And then overall, what does, like, that peace, what does that healing brings to you? What type of peace or clarity does it brings to you? And really just understanding, like, once you redefine your healing journey, that's when that sense of peace comes in. That's when you no longer have to worry about that past hurt, that past trauma that you had to deal with because you dealt with it alone that healing journey. But we have to deal with it during that healing journey. We can't hide it because in our healing journey, it can be messy. It can be chaotic. And understanding, ask yourself this. What did my healing journey take from me? And how did it impact me and make me who I am today? Just let that sit with you. Like, healing's not easy. It isn't linear. But if you're in a season of loss right now, know that healing may cost you, but it will never bankrupt you. Healing is both grief and growth. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means making room. You are evolving, and that's something to be proud of. If this episode resonated with your spirit, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend or family. Next week, we'll be diving into healing meets reality, maintaining peace in a chaotic world. You don't want to miss this one. Again, I'm Christopher Metoyer, your host, and thank you for tuning in to the Evolving Healer podcast.